Okay, hi everyone. Um, I got some comments on the YouTube channel about my video that I put up last week, which is actually two parts because I went a little long, where I compared the three NIRS devices, the Moxie monitor, the Humon, and the Portamon in occlusions, so in complete occlusions. And to help me talk about this a little bit, I actually have Roger Schmitz here. Roger, say hi to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
There you go. He's from Moxie Monitor. You see that behind him. For full disclosure, again, like at the end of my YouTube videos, it always shows, I also co-develop with Moxie Monitor and help them out. It's a really good device. So for full disclosure, we're Moxie Monitor biased. But we're going to try to honestly talk through this topic because we're both big fans of NIRS and we think there's big potential here. And we are worried all NIRS devices, like I said in my video, that they function and validate themselves because they show the same thing, but there's quality differences. And I think people need to be made aware of when buying their NIRS devices. That's why I made the video in the first place. So what I want to talk about was the differences that I got in my data that I collected, my occlusions. And when we look at the Moxie data, you see that regardless arm or leg, again, repeated these occlusions multiple times, you kind of get similar curves, you get similar minimums, you get similar maximums. And if we take the Humon, for example, but also the Portamon, you get much bigger differences. So in the Humon, you see that the forearm, it goes really quick down to zero, and it comes back up pretty high with a good range, but these very quick drops, and that zero hits real fast to question, well, maybe it should be negative 20. And then on the leg, it's the complete opposite. It takes forever to go down. It doesn't really go down very far. The functional range is really small. So I was going to get you to talk about that, why those differences are there, or why you think they're there.
Yeah, so I think the difference is really in the algorithm on how these devices measure. So these other devices are using algorithms that have to deal with figuring out what the path length of light is through the tissue, and they do it in different ways. And so if they can't do that accurately, or if they can't do that accurately over a wide range of conditions, then what they tend to do is shrink the scale and then make it fit onto 0, 100. So under different conditions, they'll measure it higher or lower, but then we won't see as much dynamic range because they had to shrink the scale to accommodate the fact that they can't measure accurately over a wide range of conditions.
So, I mean, essentially, it's like you try to avoid having a device kind of bottom out really quick, which is actually kind of what we saw by the Humon, but then also top out really quick where you'd be like, well, the range is actually negative 20% and 150%, which makes no sense on the 0 to 100% scale. Which then leads to my question. So if they're trying to, if Humon, let's assume they're trying to protect against this, but you see this big, it's obviously not working for either. I mean, if we're making these assumptions because they hit the 0 really fast and they come back up nicely, but in the leg, they don't get the range at all. And I see the only reason that these differences are happening between my forearm and my leg, or let's say the biggest factor contributing to this must be the tissue layering. So the difference between essentially 0 adipose tissue in my forearm and more on my quad than I have.
Yep. So I think we should just to get one baseline correct. We're talking about SMO2, so we're talking about the oxygenation in the muscle layer. So that's what we want to go for. And then I think I should make a comment too on the validity of the type of testing you're doing. So doing the occlusion test when you're completely stopping blood flow to a muscle. What should you expect to get? We expect that the SMO2 should go down and it should approach 0. And it should kind of asymptotically approach 0. Now, can it get to exactly to 0, or what should that absolute lowest number be? There's some argument of can it actually get to a perfect 0, but it should get very low. It should get like less than 10% when you do this complete stoppage of blood flow. And then we expect when you release the cuff after you've had it occluded for some time, that the muscle has vasodilated from being starved for oxygen for a while, we expect that it's going to shoot up to something close to your arterial saturation. So when we do these occlusion and release tests, that's really the way to know, is my NIRS system measuring valid numbers on a scale of 0 to 100%. And so that's what we're doing in those cases, and that's, you know, that's what we'd expect to see, and we expect to see that because we're interested in the muscle layer. It should be the same regardless of the fat layer thickness, and it should be the same really regardless of the muscle type. When you stop the blood flow, the muscle is going to keep consuming oxygen as long as it can until it's gone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay.